What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Trading Learning 101. It is Wednesday, June 5th, just after 12 p.m. I was just watching ABIO right here. Again, another pop today. It just took the longest time for it. It delayed the recap a little bit because I just wanted to see what it did in this area at the VWAP. Right here at 7:30, just got a surge of volume and surged from 7:30 all the way up to 8:35. Pulled back. It did pull back to $8. I was watching it. Maybe it did what it did last time. Bounce off of 8 and shoot up to 8.50. But then it fell below $8 and it was just hanging at this VWAP. I liked what it was setting up. It just got really, really tight right here. And I like watching wedge patterns like that. If it breaks to the upside or if it breaks to the downside. This thing's wild. It could do whatever it wants. It's a super low float stock. Let's go back and see what it did last time it was in this area, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Right here. This is the day it ran up from 550s all the way up to a high of $9. Pulled back to the area it got halted at, 750, and from 750 it moved its way back on up to 850, pulled back to $8, popped again to 850, $8, 850, and then it surged through $8 all the way down. Always want to keep these on watch. And then look what it did yesterday. Yesterday, I was watching this. Here, I'll zoom out on it. Look at that right there, that big sell-off all the way down from 2 days ago, all the way down to 7. Got a pop up to $8. Came all the way back down, and then it was just hanging in this area right here at 660s up to almost $7. And then at the end of the day, it got a nice little surge up right there. So that lets me know people are still watching this and playing this, even though it's not that much volume. You know, a low float stock like this can easily be manipulated. And if you know how to play it with a couple hundred shares, you know, you can make a couple $100 if you know how to play it. But I love low float stocks. And then today, this thing opened up and it was just sitting there. You could see no volume on this at all with all these little lines. And then from 7, surged up to 750, back down to 730, just sitting there. You can almost see it made like a U shape and then just ripped on up. Very, very weird stock. But everybody had RWLK on their watch list this morning. And then you know what this company did? This company comes out at exactly 9:15 and wants to exercise warrants that are worth $10.8 million. Now, when a company does that, that just killed it for me. I didn't even want to touch this thing after it did that. And look what this did. It was up to almost $11 before the market opened. Let me zoom in more. Up to almost $11. Over $11 before the market opened. They put the warrants out from 11, drops all the way down to 750. Look at that right there. opens up from 750, pushes all the way up to 950 right there, pulls back to this 850 level, and this thing just kept bouncing. Look at that. Just kept bouncing from 850 up to 925, back down to 850, 925, down to 850, 825, finally pushed over 925 and ran up just over $10 right there, and then came crashing right back down, and look at right where it bounced at, 850, right back up to 925, back and forth, and then it did look like it wanted to break out right here at 925 again. And then look at that surge candle. They surged it all the way back down, and then it petered right here, and then it just surged right through that 850 down to $8, bounces up to 825, and then just surged all the way down to 725. 725 just trickles up to 775, comes back down to that support level right there, a little petty bounce, and then surges all the way below 7. And now it's getting a grind up to 725. But after that exercised warrants, it just killed it for me with RWLK. I just don't like to trade stocks that put offerings out or warrants out, because I've seen a stock in the past, they put 2 offerings out in the same day. I can't remember what ticker it was. I want to say it was MBOT, but right at the open they put an offering out, and then at like around noon they put an offering out. And you don't want to get caught in an offering, because if you get caught in an offering, this is what happens right there. For just a blink of an eye, 11 all the way down to 750. Just destroy your account. But this did set up a nice range on this though, from 925 to 850. Very, very nice. Great opportunities on this. If you're long, you got an opportunity right there, right there, right there, again right there, and then right there it broke through it. So 1, 2, 3, 4 opportunities for a nice scalp from 850 all the way up to 925, even $9. You know, just selling up into a pop. That's still a 50-cent move to the upside. A little 400 shares, 300 shares, 50-cent pop, that's 200 bucks in your pocket. Do it 4 times, that's 800 bucks in a span of from 950 to 1050, an hour right there. 4 opportunities to scalp it 4 times. $200 each time, 800 bucks. Most people gotta work a whole week to make that, and you could have made that in an hour. But I just want to show this to you guys, you know, the opportunity that's out there of what you can trade. But in a way, this set up a pretty much head and shoulders pattern. You got your shoulder right here, you got your head right here, and then this is like a retarded shoulder somewhat, and then there's your neckline right there, and then look, it fell right below it, and then when it bounced, it couldn't even come back up to where old support was for a nice bounce up. So that showed weakness right there, that it couldn't even bounce back up to where old support was to hold as resistance, and then down she went. That's why it pretty much surged all the way down like that. traders who got stuck in on this, on that bounce, they're all getting out. Buyers trying to scalp this for a nice bounce for their strategy up to this line right here. They're seeing there's no strength in it. Everybody starts dumping it, and then that's when you get that surge down like that. But RWLK, what a bummer. This was so primed and hyped. They put that press release out right after hours. You had Tim Bowen from Stocks to Trade pumping up all his sheep on this thing. And, you know, in a way, it's kind of messed up and misleading because he wouldn't tell people to look into the SEC filings if they had warrants or anything like that. He put a strategy out for all of them. And, that just sucks with RWLK. I was really looking forward to this today, but I just can't touch it if a company does a public offering, warrants, something like that, because just look at it. Look what happened to it at the end. It just completely fell apart. And now what this did, all in this area, is it just trapped longs. But moving on, at the end of the day yesterday, we had WORX, had a nice pop right at the close. And this did pretty much the similar thing to what, where is it at? VISL did. A couple days ago, right there, look at. Let me zoom in on this. 3 days ago, VISL had a morning or end of the day surge right here from $1.60 all the way up to almost $4, pulled back to this $3 level right there, and then from 3 had a nice bounce back up to 370, and then after that it just faded off. We'll zoom forward as you'll see. Got a little morning pop and nothing special the next day, but it just goes to show you right there how fast volume comes and goes in these stocks. And VISL, I think, has a flow of like 3 million, I want to say. So a very fast move up and down. And then yesterday we had where is it at? WORX do the exact same thing. Look at that. Exact same thing. Same pattern to the T pretty much. That's why it's important to look for patterns and notice what stocks do, because the market likes working in patterns. WORX has a flow of around 5 million. Gets a rip at the end of the day yesterday from 480 all the way up to $7 right there. Rips up to $7, pulls back to a mental level, $6, just like VISL, and then rebounds right back up and makes a new high on the day, comes back down. It was holding this support, but a real fast pump and dump like this, and going back and looking at what VISL did the days after, it got a gap down. It didn't gap up. Volume left it. And look what happened to WORX today. Nothing. No volume really. Nothing at all. I did trade this, but it was really, really fast and really sketchy. I only made $150 on this. I traded it real fast. Here, I'll show you guys. Real fast. But I was watching this like a hawk. I got in with only 400 or 500 shares. I got in at 580 and I sold it up at $6.10. Made 150 bucks real fast on it. What I seen on it, it was making higher lows. It was getting really, really tight in this area right here. And it just got a surge of volume. That's what I'm waiting for. I love playing low float stocks. This is me as a trader. This is my niche. You know, this is where I get my edge. And I watch these like a hawk. Gets that surge of volume from 560s. I chased it a little bit. I bought in right here. I got in at 580. And when this pushed up, it was topping out up here at 620. And look at all these long wicks. When I zoom in on this, look at those long wicks. When you got that surge up, look at that. It goes from 620 all the way back down to 565 and then back up. And then when I just seen there was no volume coming in on it on the tape and it was up here just sitting there, I got out. Because if I don't see strength coming into it and power, I want to lock up my gains and get out. Because look what happened. In a blink of an eye, this goes from 615 and rips all the way back down to 580 and then back down to 560. And then it just fades off. You gotta be fast. If you want to get involved with low float stocks, you gotta be fast with them. Have to be fast. You can't hold and hope with low floats. You'll get burnt every time. And as soon as you figure out the psychology on low floats, it's all good. And look at right where it spiked up to. It spiked up to the previous day where it was bouncing for support right there. So it spiked right up to it today. And that's what I was waiting for. I know it's a low float stock. It doesn't take much volume for it to get going. There's smart money out there that takes the easy money. And that's what they did. They just watched this like a hawk. And as soon as momentum came in on that tape, they got in, wrote it up and sold it into the sheep with all the, that's why I don't use stock scanners. If I hear stocks going off on a stock scanner, it's already too late. You know, that's when I'm waiting for it. And then when it starts to go, I get in. By the time it gets up there, it's hitting everybody's stock scanners. And I'm unloading on them because they're chasing it. You just got to keep it simple. You don't need stock scanners, really. You just got to follow stocks. It's just basic. What are the percentage gainers? Where's the volume at? Where's the top volume? Where's the percentage gain? Where's the dollar gainers at? And then also GameStop took a nosedive today from around $8, opens up at around $5.50, and now it's hitting lows at $4.75. GameStop just announced that they're stopping their dividends. There's no more dividends. GameStop's on its way out the door. But this would have been a good short opportunity to set up a real nice pattern right here. Gets a big, big sell down. It's looking toppy there at 570. Gets a morning downslide right there, down to $5. Tops out here at 520. VWAP is acting as resistance. Comes down to $5. Breaks through 5. Makes a new low on the day at 475. Comes right back up right here. Look at where it's finding resistance. Where old support was. I mean, that's an A+ chart right there. That's what I look for when I'm trading. Moves to the upside, moves to the downside. I want it to top out pull back, and I want that old support or resistance to hold as the new support or resistance. Perfect example, just like right there. Stock falls below where old support was, gets momentum, starts moving back on up, finds resistance at old support. Right there. Alright, next up. MBOT had a real just fast pop. Nothing really to talk about. From 540 all the way up to 580. SOLY. I've traded this all last week. I loved this stock last week, but lately this stock has just been really choppy. Really choppy. Look at it all day yesterday. You know, move down, move up, down. I just didn't feel comfortable playing it. And I just felt it was really choppy. Today it was like in the bounce off of 19. Shit. I'm sorry I do that to you guys. I know it's blinding. Right here, $19 mental area. 3 times bounced right off of 19 up to 1950 right there. Moves like that are what I'm looking for as a trader. I'm looking for the easy moves always. 3 times 19 up to 1950, 19, 1950, 19, 1950, and then it even goes up to $20. So moves like that are what I'm looking for as a trader. I love looking for range bound plays that have range. I'm not talking 5-cent range, 10-cent range. I like at least 50-cent range, and SOLY is a good example from 19 to 1950. VLRX, nothing special. I'm waiting for VLRX to get above $4. If it can get above $4 and volume could push into it, this thing could easily retest 450s. CTRM, nothing's going on with it. Where's the other one? It was GNCA is the other one I wanted to talk about. GNCA. Nice move today. I was watching this yesterday because it was flatlining right there at 575 up to $6. A little over $6 up to 625 even. Just zooming out on this chart and looking at it. But from all back here even 550s, 575, it was flatlining at this level. It sold off all right here, and it just flatlines. So when a stock flatlines like that, I always want to try to look at it for it to start to U-shape. And look what happened today. From 550s, this is moving up to 725. Awesome move on GNC. And that's the importance of looking at stocks on multiple time frames, zooming out on the chart. Don't just look at the current day. Zoom out and look what it's done the past few days. Look at that. That's like perfect almost. It didn't come down quite to 550, but the general area it came down to. It came down to it right there. Ran all the way up here, came all the way back down, and look at right where it went sideways at. And then boom. That's what I like to look for as a trader. Nice grind. 560 all the way up to just over $7. And this is a cup and handle breakout right here. Stock got this, we were watching this morning, and I said it in chat. we got a little volume surge. No, it wasn't right there. We got a volume surge right here at 10:30. Right there. Had a volume surge up to $6. It pulled back below 6 and then boom, exploded up into a halt all the way up to 670. Opens back up, touched almost $7 with that wick, came all the way down, and look what this did. Right at the VWAP, $6.30, starts making a U shape right on up, comes right up to old resistance right there, gets that pullback, tests that resistance again right there, pulls back again, and then boom, off it went up to $7. That's a little bit more of an extended cup and handle. I'd call this a double cup and handle. You got your big cup right here, and you got two handles, one handle right there and one handle right there that finally broke out. And then when it pulled back, look at where it bounced at. It bounced at new support where old resistance was right there, and right there. Bounced off that 680 level and then goes right back up to 720. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? That's a good looking chart. That's how you break it down. You just got to zoom in. Focus on the chart. What's the chart telling you? Get one of these right here where you're able to just freely draw on the chart. And don't be afraid to draw on the chart. You can draw lines if you want. Draw lines out. Draw your U shape. Just don't be afraid to draw, because this is what other traders are doing. But awesome play today on GNCA. I missed it. I need to start focusing more and paying attention more to multiple stocks that are on my watch list. Look at all these stocks that are on my watch list. Right here. All these stocks are just on Wednesday's watch list. You know, I want to try to quickly run through them all throughout the day and see how they're doing. But then I also go back. I'll go to Tuesday's watch list and I'll see if there's anything setting up for today. I'll go to Monday. I'll do the same thing. Stocks that popped off Monday or I added to the watch list Monday, I'll quickly run through them to see if anything's setting up. And then I'll always be checking my weekly watch list to run through all these to see if there's anything setting up. That's why I recommend creating a watch list, a weekly watch list, and then create a watch list on your trading platform for every single day of the week. And then on the weekends, you can easily go back and see what stocks performed on what day. And if you like it, add it to your weekly watch list. And then always have a watch list of the overall markets so you can see how they're doing. All your favorite ETFs. I got IPOs because that's been the theme this year. And a watch list of all the sectors. And then I just got a basic index watch list. So when I do the recaps, it's more easy to go through this than that. We also had another, where is it at? Reverse split take off today. Where is it at? Hold on, we just talked about it. We also got to talk about TVIX as well. Oh man, I know we talked about it, but there was another stock. If any of you guys know it, mention it in the live chat. But there was a stock today that did a reverse split, and it had a real fast pop right at the open. I can't remember the name of it, but another reverse split stock that had a nice spike to the upside today. But let's go over real quick the TVIX and the SPY. I'm going to bring it up on this chart to compare and show you guys so you can see what happened. So when you're following the SPY, that's why I go over the SPY every day and I do a weekly recap on the SPY, the S&P 500, because you want to know the levels that the SPY is trading at. This last week, when I zoom out on the SPY, just to pull it up real quick, this 280 and 281 level was previous resistance on the SPY. This 281 level and 280 level was previous resistance. And then the stock fell below it. And then look at all right here, it was acting as resistance. Came down, stock made a new low, and then 276, 275 was acting as resistance on this. All right here. Stock came down, made new lows, down to almost 271, 270. Then we got this gap up, and it finally crossed over 275, 276. So when it recrossed over, look what became new support when it pulled back right in that area. Old resistance is new support, and when it moved its way on up, look at all right here where it was having a hard time breaking through that 280 level from way back here. And then it finally gaps up and through that 280, 281 level. So now 280, 281 should be the new support. Zoom in on this to the intraday here. Stock opens up at 282, sells all the way down here to 280. Key support level for it. But look what it did right here. It was at 281. And it was in this range from 281 pretty much up to the VWAP right there at 281.60. And then it finally broke below that support, made a low here at 280.70, pops back up. Old support is now resistance right there. Falls back down, makes a new low on the day right there. And then comes right back up. Old resistance. It reclaimed it and then was bouncing off of it, and then off she went. But today there was a good play on the TVIX when the SPY fell below this morning. Right here. $10.40. So the TVIX had an ascending wedge right here, moving up and up and up at around from 10 o'clock right there all the way to 10:30. Watching this. on the SPY from 10 o'clock. From 10 o'clock, right there, this started trending down to 10:30, right there. Starts trending down, making lower lows, and it was making lower highs. You got the TVIX here from 10 to 10:30, forming an ascending wedge. And then the SPY cracked below that 281 level right here. And when it cracked below, that's when the TVIX got a push to the upside, and it topped out right at the day high. SPY bounces back up, bounces right at old support, new resistance. TVIX gets a pull back to the area it broke out from right here, and then pushes off that and pushes up even more. And as it did that, the SPY dropped more and dropped for a new low for the day. I'm sorry you guys can't really see that well. Hopefully you guys really get what I'm talking about. But it's all about comparing these and paying attention to what both are doing. Really, this day high right here on the TVIX, this day high right here on the TVIX, when this pulled back down and started forming a wedge right there, and when it popped up out of that wedge, that day high should have acted as resistance, and it did. Then it pulls back. It's natural for a stock to pull back, especially after it has an up move. A stock can't keep going up and up and up and up and up and up and up non-stop. It's going to want to have pullbacks. Stock pulls back, pulls right back to the level where it broke out from, and then off it went, right back up. And it even made a new high on the day, right up here. And then it came back down, bounced again right here, old support, nice pop from 23.45 up to 23.65 right here. Came back down, couldn't hold it. Now it was acting as resistance, and you can see that right there with the two wicks right there, acting as resistance, and then it just trickled off, started trending down. New support right there, comes back up, couldn't even make it up to the VWAP, showing weakness. Right there, and it finally hit the VWAP, but look what it did right there. That's a tombstone doji. That's a bearish candlestick. Then it sold all the way down, broke through that support, and now this is resistance. You're going to see inverse ETFs like the TVIX and UVXY really like to conform to patterns and candlesticks. That's why it's really important to know your candlesticks, know your candlestick patterns. Look at how I just broke down this chart, and it's perfect sense. Why? Because you have the whole entire world watching the TVIX. When you have especially the whole entire world trading this, it's going to confine to what people know. Basic support, basic resistance, patterns, candlestick patterns. You know, this stuff is awesome, guys. It really is. Tell me just breaking down this TVIX chart, that's not an awesome chart. Everything worked out smoothly on this chart as it worked its way up and down throughout the day here from this range. And it's only a range of $1 from $23 all the way up to $23.90. But if you know how to trade these, you know, you can scalp them for good moves. And then real quickly, you got the SPY not knowing what it wants to do so far today. Trends down here at the open. Gets a move back on up, and right now it's just currently range bound as we're going into lunch. But hopefully you guys are all having a great trading day. I need to start paying attention more to the SPY and the TVIX. I really do. There's good opportunities on the TVIX and the SPY. And I enjoy trading the TVIX. It's a lot of fun. But you currently got the VIX. It's right at 1668. So the VIX is starting to putter off a little bit. You know, this is a really good time for the overall market to show if it has strength. You know, the past couple days, you've had all these people saying we're entering into correction territory. And then you had the Feds come out and talk about, hey, you know, we're willing to cut interest rates. You know, if China and the US can get this deal worked out, that motivated the market. And look at, here we are. We're bullish on the market, pushing back up. You know, Trump can stay out of his phone and not tweet anything stupidity, then we're looking to end the week on a bullish note. So far, it's looking good. But the SPY's setting up nicely right now in a nice range from 281.50 up to 282. If it can get above 282, that's really good. We want a really strong close on the SPY here. A really strong close. This is setting up so nicely. It's crazy how the SPY moves and sets up, and it's just like I said yesterday, a dramatic movie. You don't know what the ending's gonna be, and the SPY works and sets patterns up, and it's at that anticipation of waiting to see what's gonna happen. Is this trend gonna break to the upside, or is it gonna break down and fall to the downside? Also had Cool, real fast. This was the stock. KOOL. That's the one. Cool had a 1 for 10 reverse split today. Look at that. From 265, sits there right at the open, and then boom, just explodes up to $3.30, and then rips all the way back down and below where it opened. You gotta be fast with these low floats, but that's just so random right there. You know, how you gonna play something like that? It didn't hold its gains at all. And Cool has the volume on the day is 400,000. So imagine everybody who chased that big spike right there, and it came crashing back down. You could see that big spike right there too at 10 o'clock. How much volume? That's 65,000 in volume. It's a lot of volume. RWLK starting to get a rebound off that 675 level back up to 8. GNCA still pushing higher. ABIO, it's still hanging out. I mean, look at this daily on it. All those consecutive red days, and then now look at 3 days of a bounce from 550 all the way up to 850. $3 move to the upside. That's crazy. That 850 is going to be a tough resistance because it was all resistance right here. And you know, old support was right here and right there. So that's what you want to look for. You want to look for where did the stock, you know, sit and consolidate at? Where was old support, resistance? And you can see that 850 all right here and right here. But what I also recommend is always look at charts like this. I'll show you. If you use indicators, put your indicators on one chart and then have another chart that's just naked, doesn't have no indicators, nothing. So you can just go through and maybe see something that's setting up on the chart that's a pattern. And then also have a line chart. You'd be able to, you could really see support and resistance levels a lot easier with line charts, believe it or not. But look at ABIO, that's an awesome U shape right there. And going off of the past, you could see that this likes making U shapes right there. Makes a really big U shape right here. Another one right there. Another one right there. A little tiny one right there. The stock likes making U shapes. So it's important to have an eye for detail and noticing what a stock likes to do. This stock likes making U shapes. You can see it all on the chart history right here. Look what it did. Big U shape on it. This thing could very well come all the way back up to $9. It's halfway there. Right now it's just sitting and consolidating at that 750 level. One more thing, US companies added fewest jobs since 2010. And I think that's going to be about it. CCXI, big gap down on the chart from $11 all the way down just below $8. This is the importance of looking at the gap scanner every morning. Look at that. Stock wasn't volatile really at all right here. And all it took was for it to have a big gap down. Because long-term investors look at it, hey, I can get this at a discounted price. And then look at from 725 gets a rebound up to, it's almost hitting $10. Look at that. Comes almost halfway back up of this big gap down. Halfway. This is where the easy money is. This is why you want to just scan the markets. Add charts to your watch. This is why I always add gap downs to my watch list, because stocks love coming back up and filling the gap. It doesn't happen all the time, but today's a good example of it happening. LGCY, still waiting for a potential bounce on this. ELTK, still waiting for a bounce on this. This could very well, I'm liking this 450 level on this. You could see it bottomed right there, and now it's at this 450 level. If I can draw a straight line, but if it can start going sideways at this 450 level, this could start U-shaping its way back on up, possibly to 550. And that's the honest truth of how you make easy money. You just add these and keep tabs on them. Check them periodically. What are they doing? Are they setting up? And they'll set up pretty bluntly in your face, like, yo, This is curling at the bottom. Curling at the bottom. The selling is slowing down. And it's starting to go sideways. And buyers notice. And then it gets momentum and starts moving to the upside. ELTK could keep selling off, but anything could happen. That's why it's hard, you know, to master the stock market, because anything could happen. But I think that's going to wrap it up. A really, really long recap, guys. An hour long. A lot to talk about today. Nothing else really I've seen on the thing I wanted to talk about. Oil has been taking off and exploding lately, but not United States oil. It was I think it was Drip. Yeah, Drip was exploding to the upside. Gush is its counterpartner, ETF. So Drip from 1360 all the way up to 1550. Look at that. Nice. 1360 explodes all the way up to almost 15, pulls back to 1440. Nice wedge right there. And then look, from 1440 explodes up to 1520, tops out at 1550. It just goes to show you there's multiple ways to make money in the markets. Multiple ways. Let's compare those two ETFs so you guys can see them. Drip, and the other one is Gush. Zoom out a little bit on that. They do the mirror opposite of each other. When Gush falls down, Drip's going to go up. And then when Drip falls down, Gush is going to move up. Love ETFs. If you don't know ETFs, there's a great site. Let me bring it over. Right here. DirectSurroundInvestments.com. I'll put the link in the description for you guys. Go to the leverage and inverse ETFs, and it'll list all of them. The gold, energy, oil, gas, all of them. There's so many ETFs out there. So many. Let me put this in the description for you guys. Hopefully that'll update for you guys so you guys can see it. But I'm about to end this. It should save it in there for you guys. I put the link to this website so you guys can go through and look through all these ETFs. Just go through and, you know, they partner them up with what they run with. So, and you got them broken down. You got your ×1 ETFs, your ×2 ETFs, and your ×3 ETFs. The more times it is, the more volatile it is. So a ×1 ETF is really not going to move that much. A ×3 ETF is going to move a lot. It moves ×3 its volatility of what it's trading. So it looks like you got, you know, Nugget and Dust is gold. JNUG and JDST is another gold one. Nail is home builders. ERX and ERY is energy. GASL and GASX is natural gas. Gush and Drip is oil and gas. You'll hear Ricky Gertez. He trades a lot of JNUG and JDST right there. That's what he likes trading. SOXL and SOXS. That's the semiconductors. Very important sector. And then you got your banks. You see how many ETFs there are? They cover everything. Banks, gold, copper, silver. There's all kinds. And they're fairly new. That's why you'll see all these brokerages like TD Ameritrade, E-Trade. They'll put commissions $4.99 and ETFs are commission free because they're newer and they want to try to motivate people more to trade them. You know, just like back in the day, no one really knew about shorting stocks and there were no fees on shorting stocks. Believe it or not, from what I heard, they used to pay you to short stocks. Now, they have borrow fees, locate fees. It's ridiculous for shorts. And you're seeing the same thing happen right now with ETFs. So take advantage of these ETFs while they're still newer, I would say. They've been around for 30 years, but most brokerages out there have commission-free ETF trading. I know TD Ameritrade is commission-free ETF trading, but they want to motivate you guys to trade these. That's why they do that. But go through, do your research, you know, do your own due diligence, check out ETFs. I have a couple videos on them. I'll start looking in more this weekend on ETFs. And look, they got the Russell 2000 ETF right there. RUSL and RUSS. There's all kinds, you know. Treasury, 7 to 10 year treasury, and 10-year, 20-year treasury. Oh man, I love the stock market. But that's gonna wrap it up for this recap, guys. Hopefully you guys are all had a great trading day. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And until next time, guys, have that patience, have that discipline, and study, study, study. All right, later, everyone.